This story is based on a personal account and contains dramatizations. Images and scenes may have been altered for dramatic purposes. The names of the family members have been changed to protect their privacy. Inhuman noises, night after night. Painful scratches gouged in human flesh.
They believe that the devil was actually communicating through scratches on the boy's skin.
And a war of good versus evil. A boy many believe is harboring the devil.
The priest believes that he's actually communicating with Satan himself.
A plot from a Hollywood horror movie? This is a terrifying account that many claim is real.
This is something that most people don't believe in today, but to these priests, they were witnessing pure evil.
The shocking events that inspired the blockbuster horror film, The Exorcist. Behind the screams. In 1949, a Catholic priest wrote a secret diary that chronicled what he claimed to be a real-life exorcism in America. It's a story that defies reason, but the writings would go on to inspire The Exorcist, the first horror film to receive a Best Picture nomination. This is the story. Cottage City, Maryland. In this suburb of the nation's capital, most local residents live a simple life. So when parents Douglas and Violet Milson come home from running errands, they're shocked to find their son Ronald in a panic.
I'm so glad you're home. You're not gonna believe it.
He tells them about strange noises that have been coming from inside the walls and floor.
Noises? What do you mean?
Sounds that won't go away. Ronald says it started earlier that day while he was busy studying for school. He claims he heard a strange dripping sound echoing throughout the house. But no matter where he looked, he couldn't find the source. Every faucet in the house was shut off. But as he approached his bedroom, the dripping noise seemed to be coming from inside. He opened the door and looked all around. The walls were dry, and the noise was coming from everywhere at once. Then he says, as he leaned in to listen, a sudden impact violently shook the wall. Then, the dripping stopped, and it was replaced by a far more ominous sound. A slow, steady scratching inside the floor. Ronald tells his parents he's convinced something has entered the house, something unnatural.
People in the paranormal community believe that hauntings will usually start out small. There are some spirits from beyond that are just trying to get our attention, and that in itself can be alarming.
Was there someone in the house?
Ronald's mother, Violet, is concerned, but his father, Douglas, is certain there must be a logical explanation.
It's probably just a rat or something. Let's everyone keep calm. I'll go check it out.
The boy's father is determined to find the true source of the mysterious sounds, so he can calm his wife and son and sit down to dinner.
The father is obviously a skeptic, so he's gonna come at this with an investigative approach, and he has to hear the noises before he can come up with any conclusions. He's going to try to come up with the most logical answer. And it's an old house. It creaks, it moans. Sometimes there are rodents in the house.
He immediately notices the odd scratching coming from upstairs. And as he enters his son Ronald's room, it's undeniable. There's something clawing the wood from below.
The father has pretty much concluded that all of this is going on in his son's head. So he's focused on what's going on right here and now. That noise, which he believes is something living underneath the floorboards.
As he listens to the floorboards, Douglas considers the facts. It certainly sounds like an animal. While many pests might search for shelter underground, some small animal may have found its way into a cozy spot inside his warm house. It's a very common problem, especially in urban areas where new construction can force animals out of their homes and into ours. Douglas is certain he's dealing with a miniature vermin, a mouse or rat.
Rats are natural burrowers. So if they find a home, they're gonna dig in. They have no problem living around people and their things, so they're not gonna leave on their own account.
The next day, an exterminator arrives to solve the problem. He also hears the noise and agrees. It sounds like an animal. But underneath the floorboards, there are no droppings. No evidence that a rat has ever been there. Just to be sure, he places poison under the floor to attract whatever is making the noise and put the matter to rest. But after several days, the scratching continues, always in the same place.
This is a skeptic's worst nightmare. Everything inside of you is telling you what's going on, but the pieces just aren't fitting together. As strange occurrences go, this is pretty mundane. But night after night after night, it just becomes torture.
The scratching, it's there again.
Again?
If it's a rat, why hasn't it eaten the poison? And why is it endlessly scratching? The racket begins to drive Ronald's father crazy. He pulls up even more floorboards, searching for the vermin.
He's completely determined to find a rational explanation to these scratching noises, but he can't find anything. And then one day, the scratching just suddenly stops.
Then, 3 days later, the family hears a new sound. A slow squeak, like the sound of noisy sneakers carefully stepping through young Ronald's room.
Listen. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I hear it.
It starts late in the evening and continues incessantly until the same time each and every night.
The typical noises you would hear in an old house are very random. Squeaks and moans. But these noises aren't random. They seem to happen at the same time in the same place every single night, almost like clockwork. So these noises are seeming to be a bit more intentional.
Ronald does his best to ignore the sounds. But his mother is very worried. A superstitious woman, she thinks something wicked has taken root inside Ronald's room. And if it's not a rat, then what is it?
In the mother's case, she's given into the idea that something supernatural is going on. But even if you believe that these noises are harmless, you've got to be thinking about what it's doing to the child's psyche.
Violet has a theory. She believes the family's being haunted by a ghost. And if this being from the other side has targeted her son, she thinks she knows who it is. Her sister-in-law, Vera. Vera was a spiritualist who believed in the supernatural, and she died just before the noises started in Ronald's room. Violet wonders, could Aunt Vera be trying to communicate with Ronald? And if so, is her message a plea for help or a warning?
One basic theory about ghosts is that they are earthbound spirits that just can't let go of something. It's possible that they have unfinished business, or sometimes they don't even know that they're dead.
People in the paranormal community believe that if a spirit can reach out and warn of any impending danger, it will do everything it can to try to warn loved ones, friends, family of anything that could be dangerous to them, that may be a threat to the family. Spirits also may need help themselves, moving on, letting go of whatever they're holding on to that's keeping them earthbound. So someone in the living world can help them do that.
It's okay, sweetie.
Violet comes up with a plan. She'll stay with Ronald while he sleeps to see if she can communicate with Aunt Vera.
Well, let's see if she has something to tell us.
She believes spirits can speak with the living through rapping sounds and knocks on hard surfaces.
If she can figure out what the aunt is trying to say, then maybe the noises will stop.
Violet claims at 10 o'clock, while lying in bed with her son, the noises begin once more. But it's not squeaking this time. Instead, it's a slow, beating rhythm, making its way up the bed, moving back and forth across their bodies like soldiers marching. Violet knows this is her chance.
Vera,
She calls out to Aunt Vera, asking for a sign.
knock 3 times if it's you.
She and Ronald claim to feel a mysterious force fly through them, hitting the wall, making a distinct knocking sound 3 times in a row.
If a noise happens once, that's something you can easily dismiss. But if a noise happens 3 times in a row, especially for someone who believes in the paranormal, this could definitely be a sign.
For Violet, it's undeniable proof.
I think it was her.
She's communicating with her dead sister-in-law. Now, she wonders, what is Vera trying to tell them?
It's one thing to identify that someone from the other side is trying to communicate with you. But now what do? What do they want?
Douglas, last night, something very strange happened.
Her husband patiently listens to Violet's story,
Well, I think she's trying to communicate with us.
but his total disbelief in supernatural events makes it very tough to swallow.
But there was these blasts of air. It was...
Blasts of air, the window was probably open.
No, Douglas, I'm telling you, it was Vera.
Well, she's my sister. Why wouldn't she be talking to me? This is Ron playing some kind of trick.
He's not someone who easily believes in these things. He's looking for a rational answer, whereas his wife is more open to the idea of something being supernatural. And that's just the way some people are. Some people are open to the ideas where others are completely shut off.
You know, her and Ron were very close, and since she's passed, I
That's
think...
ridiculous.
Meanwhile, according to the family, inexplicable events continue happening in their home, and they're becoming more physical. Instead of strange noises, ordinary household objects seem to come to life.
Some believe that kinetic forces are common occurrences in all sorts of hauntings. And once a spirit identifies that it can move objects in the physical world, that's when things get really scary.
The disturbances they witness increase in scale. From a bottle of milk moving across a kitchen counter on its own, to an entire table slamming to the ground.
So now you have to ask yourself, what's next? If the spirit can move something as heavy as a table, what else can they move? Can they move something heavier? Say a bookshelf. Can they push that over on you? Can they actually touch you physically? Can they push you down the stairs?
Douglas notices one thing that always remains the same. Whenever something odd happens in the home, his son Ronald is always nearby.
Even though the situation is becoming more unexplainable, Ronald's father has a very difficult time believing that it can be anything other than his son acting out. For a non-believer, it'd be very difficult for them to jump to a paranormal conclusion. So it's much easier for Ronald's father to believe that his son is having problems rather than it be something unexplainable.
And that's not all he observes. As time wears on and the troubling incidents become more and more extreme, his son's behavior also transforms. No longer a lighthearted teenage boy, he pulls further and further inside himself.
There's no telling how this could be affecting the boy's behavior at this time. Everything that's going on is hard enough for an adult to rationalize, let alone a teenager.
Listen, Ron, you're scaring your mother. This isn't a joke. These pranks have to stop.
Douglas Milson demands a confession. The only logical explanation for everything that's happened is that Ronald is acting out.
It's Aunt Vera trying to talk.
Now stop that right there. Aunt Vera's dead.
But no matter how hard he presses on his son, Ronald won't break. He swears he's not responsible.
This is turning into a battle of wills between the father and the son. Both strongly believe in what they're saying is correct. And this is causing more stress in their relationship and also more distrust. The father is losing trust in his son because he doesn't think his son is being honest with him, and the son is losing trust in his father because his father is not believing in him. This is adding stress in an already stressful situation.
Douglas Milson is convinced there's something very wrong with Ronald. He takes his son to numerous medical and psychological experts.
What do you see with this picture, Ronald?
If the boy is creating all of this himself, he is going to show signs of some mental disturbance. What if somebody is doing something to the boy? Kids at school, perhaps teasing him, an authority figure that's being inappropriate. Maybe he's acting out, trying to get his parents' attention.
He requests a series of tests to see what, if anything, is causing this behavior in his son. A chemical imbalance, a psychological condition, or something even more serious.
He's a healthy boy.
But after each and every examination, the results are the same. Negative. Ronald's a normal, healthy young man.
This must be really frustrating for Ronald's father because he was expecting medicine and science to give him some tangible answers. But after putting his son through all these examinations, they're finding that his son is completely healthy and nothing's wrong with him. They're stuck right back at point A, which is they don't know what's happening.
But the doctors do have one observation for the boy's father. The frightening events seem to be causing his son mental stress.
It's tough feeling vulnerable to something you can't see or control. You're constantly on edge, and eventually it's going to wear you down.
He and his wife need to find a way to end the constant occurrences, or their son could suffer serious psychological damage.
Whether he's making all of this up, he's obviously disturbed by it, and it's only getting worse. His parents need to do something about it now.
Thank you for meeting with me, Reverend Schultz.
Of course.
At the end of her rope, the boy's mother, Violet, falls back on her faith.
You're gonna think I'm crazy for saying this, but
She visits her local Lutheran minister.
It would make sense that the boy's mom would turn to faith in a time of distress because faith brings comfort. a feeling of safety, a feeling of no matter what, I'll always be protected or someone is looking out for me.
Reverend Luther Miles Schultz patiently listens as Violet explains. She's starting to believe Ronald's being visited by something far more sinister than a ghostly aunt.
I think he's possessed by demons.
Demonic possession is a pretty radical assumption, but research has shown that women in general believe more in the supernatural than the male population. So this is something that she just needs to rule out.
The Reverend is not convinced a demon is the cause. Still, he won't ignore a member of his church who's in need. He tells Violet that Ronald may be finding some way to make all these strange occurrences happen.
If he would maybe come stay at my place tonight.
If he's not in his normal environment, maybe he won't be able to play his pranks.
So the priest is sort of coming at this situation with a scientific approach, because you have a couple different variables going on here. You have Ronald and you have the house. Now, if we separate Ronald from the house, are we still gonna have the same activities happening? Is this happening because of the house? Is this happening because of Ronald? Let's find out. Let's put Ronald in a new environment and see if the same things happen and see if Ronald reacts any differently.
That night, the Reverend brings young Ronald into his own home for observation. At first, Ronald settles into bed peacefully. But then, at precisely 10 o'clock,
You hear that?
everything changes. He and Ronald both claim they hear the clawing sound. But this time, the noise they're hearing is inside the Reverend's home.
Undoubtedly, there's some relief that comes with this confirmation. You're not crazy, and you're not alone. But there is a new layer of fear.
It's the scratching. It's there again.
The inexplicable sounds seem to be following the boy.
Holy mother.
This is an entirely new development and a lot more serious. This rules out the family's earlier suspicions that this activity had something to do with their house. It also rules out it had something to do with a rat or their deceased aunt. What is this now?
It's following me.
They've discovered that it seems to be following Ronald. And if it's following Ronald wherever he goes, then how are they ever going to be rid of it? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel?
Dear God, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Schultz begins to pray. The noise grows louder and louder.
But deliver us from the evil one.
The Reverend has no idea what he's witnessed, but he now believes it's something more than just boyish pranks. He doesn't know how to help Ronald.
This would be very challenging for the Reverend, a man of faith who's used to serving his community through his faith, to not be able to help this family. On one hand, it does provide peace for the family because they've discovered now that Ronald isn't the one causing this disruptive activity. But on the other hand, now they're dealing with something that might be much more sinister.
Then, a few days later, with Ronald back at home, something happens that scares his mother like never before.
What is it? Darling,
I think something scratched me. I do.
what is it? Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, Ronald. Oh my God, sweetheart!
Out of nowhere, physical scratches appear on the young boy's skin. His mother is certain these scratches could not be self-inflicted.
I need to speak to Reverend Schultz right away. Reverend.
They appear underneath the boy's
Reverend,
clothes.
this is Violet Ron's mother. He's scratched all over his body, on his arms, and in his chest. Please come.
Like invisible claws dragging along the surface of his skin. Red lines form, causing pain and fear.
It would be horrible to watch your son experience pain from something you can't even see. If you can't even see it, how are you supposed to protect your son? How are you supposed to fix the situation? It would be a parent's worst nightmare.
Reverend, Ron now has scratches on his chest.
Reverend Schultz meets with Ronald's parents, and he has a difficult confession to make.
We don't recognize exorcism.
Okay.
Exorcisms, traditionally needed to remove these evil spirits, are against the teachings of the Lutheran Church.
Lutherans believe that ceremonies devoted to fighting demons actually give power to the devil. It's like putting a show on for Satan. They prefer to use simple prayer to root out evil.
His own faith rejects the need for exorcisms, but he's convinced Ronald is possessed.
I believe you need to consult with a Catholic priest.
Now, this is pretty remarkable. Somebody who believes so strongly in the teachings of his own church, telling this family that they have to go to another faith to get help. It seems as if he's pretty well convinced that this boy is actually possessed. This would be very scary for a parent to realize that their son is inflicted with some sort of dangerous activity that surrounds them, that will not leave him. This means that they might have to bring some other sort of expertise in, some expert in to try to figure out what's going on with their son.
The next day, Father E. Albert Hughes visits the Milson home. He's a young, confident Catholic priest. He has no experience with exorcisms, the Catholic rites that many believe can force out evil spirits. But he feels his faith is all he needs to conquer evil.
Your parents tell me that you've all been hearing some noises.
He's heard about the scratches and the noises, but that alone isn't enough. He has to find something for himself.
Father Hughes sits with Ronald and asks him about the strange happenings that seem to follow him everywhere. At first, Ronald responds like any other shy teenage boy.
But it's not coming from anywhere. It's just there.
But then, his demeanor changes dramatically. His calm, submissive gaze shifts to a piercing, fiery glare.
Tu cisme ese diablo.
According to personal accounts, Ronald speaks in Latin,
Come drogas.
a language he has never studied. And what he says leaves Father Hughes staring in disbelief.
He says a phrase in Latin which basically translates to, "You know I'm the devil, why bother me?" And this is something that a child isn't going to know, especially in Latin.
Father Hughes now truly believes Satan is inside Douglas Milson's son. He says the evil must be removed from Ronald for the good of all mankind.
The priest believes that he's actually communicating with Satan himself, and he knows he's in too deep.
Where are you taking me? Let go.
Normally, Catholics believe an exorcism is best performed in a church. But Father Hughes is concerned for the boy's safety and his own. He admits Ronald to Georgetown Hospital, a Catholic-run medical facility. The boy is wheeled into an examination room with his hands strapped to the railing of a gurney. The priest feels if the boy is really possessed, Satan could try to force his hand in violence. For the one who is possessed, the danger of physical trauma during an exorcism is very real. Attempts to cast out demonic entities have led to contusions, broken bones, and even death.
Exorcisms are very dangerous because you don't know what can happen. You almost have to invite the demon to become stronger to be able to fight it. You have to have it be present in order to banish it. You're also asking for it to be present in a human body. So you have to be very delicate and very careful in an exorcism because the demon can use the body to cause all sorts of harm. You're dealing with pure evil. So whether you believe in Satan or demons or not, it's very difficult to deal with a human being that has been supposedly possessed, because they're violent, they're screaming, they're yelling, they're moving things, and there's not much more you can do except chant holy words and pray that this demon will leave this host.
When Father Hughes enters the room, he wears a doctor's robe and mask, hoping the illusion of a clinical environment will set the boy at ease.
You gotta imagine what this feels like to the boy, so they're doing whatever they can to make it feel more routine. Anything that might calm this boy down could help the exorcism be more successful.
Take off that cross.
But the priest's disguise has the opposite effect.
Take it off!
He angrily demands that Father Hughes remove the cross he's wearing under his robe.
He needs to leave.
Father Hughes is wearing a cross underneath his clothing that you and I would not be able to see. But Ronald can see that cross, so the question is, who or what is helping him to see that? If the possessor is Satan himself, then this kid is going to be more powerful than anybody can imagine.
Hughes is convinced that Satan himself is lending Ronald his unholy powers of perception in exchange for his soul.
If the priest had any doubts of who he was dealing with before, now he believes that he is dealing with the devil.
What's wrong? My chest! My chest! It's
Ronald suddenly grunts in pain. The nurse lifts his shirt to reveal red scratches on his chest. His hands are restrained. There's no rational way these wounds could be self-inflicted. To Father Hughes and his assistant, it's as if the devil himself has made his mark.
He believes that this is another powerful sign. It's a warning to the priest. And with all these witnesses around, everyone knows that the boy isn't doing it to himself.
Father Hughes immediately begins to prepare the room for the exorcism. He sprinkles holy water in every corner. It's a blessing that Catholics believe will transform an otherwise ordinary room into holy ground, a place where evil cannot live.
Holy water is water that has been blessed by a religious figure. It is used to bless people and to bless places, but it can also be used for protection. And Father Hughes needs all the protection he can get right now.
Ronald's bed shakes violently. Then, it flies across the room with incredible force, slamming into a wall. The nurse, trying to hold it still, is thrown to the floor. Whatever's torturing this boy seems to be growing stronger.
This is very dangerous. Who's to say what is going to fly out next? Who's going to get hurt next?
Fearing that there's no time to lose, Father Hughes begins reciting the ancient words. He reveals his cross to Ronald in hopes of driving the devil out.
He's reciting from a text known as the Roman Ritual. It's a centuries-old holy book with very specific instructions.
More scratches form on the boy, deeper now than ever before. It's as though Satan is gripping tighter, desperate to regain control of his unwilling vessel. The boy grimaces in agony. It feels like he's being torn apart by a wild animal. He doesn't know how much more he can take. While the priest focuses intently on his holy text, careful to recite each and every word, Ronald secretly slips one of his hands free from its restraint. He finds a hole in the side of the hospital mattress and reaches in.
He's going for this one spot in the mattress that's open, and no one saw it. It's almost like something is guiding his hand to it.
Digging deep, he summons unnatural strength and yanks a spring from inside the mattress. Then, With a piercing gaze aimed at Father Hughes, he grips tightly and attacks with violence. Father Hughes reels back in pain. The gash is deep, and the bleeding won't stop. It'll take close to 100 stitches to close the wound, and the priest's arm will never regain its full strength. This exorcism is over. Hughes is through fighting. He's not up to the task. He fears the forces of evil have won. If no one can root the devil out of Ronald, he believes this evil could consume Ronald's soul.
Whatever has taken over Ronald has changed him from a young, normal boy to someone capable of severe violence. And even though Father Hughes knows that the stakes are as high as they can possibly get, he also knows that he's up against something that he might not be able to beat.
Back at home, the young boy's religiously faithful mother, Violet, is consumed with grief. Just 3 months ago, her son was a healthy, happy boy. Now, she's terrified he's become a conduit of hell. Day after day, new scratches appear.
It's excruciating. At this point, he's so tortured. He's completely pulled into himself.
What is it?
He's just the shell of the boy that he used to be, and he's completely lost control.
And then, the painful marks on Ronald's chest take a new form.
Oh my God! Donald!
Letters.
Douglas! Get in here, look!
For days, Violet and her husband Douglas have considered moving away from where this horrible incident began so they could be near their family in St. Louis, Missouri. And now, they believe they've received an order. Written on the flesh of their tortured son, they're convinced it's the demon's commandment, and they're too terrified to resist. Within a day, in pure desperation, they pack up and leave town for Missouri.
Of course, it's not rational for them to follow these instructions, but at this point, they are helpless. Everything has failed them: reason, medicine, and faith.
Excuse me, Father Bowdern.
Yes.
Soon after the Milsons arrive in St. Louis, the story of the boy trapped in hell's grip reaches Jesuit Father William Bowdern. He served as a chaplain during the Second World War. He's a tough man, in body and spirit.
To the priests that know him, Father Bowdern is a truly holy man. His faith, it comes completely from within, and he cares deeply about the people that need him the most.
He belongs to an exclusive religious order of Catholic priests, known as the Jesuits, also known as the Society of Jesus. The order was founded in 1540 by Ignatius of Loyola and instituted by Pope Paul III. Known for their missionary, educational, and charitable work, the Society became the largest male religious order in the Catholic Church. For centuries, this order has been committed to forcefully upholding the Catholic faith. A demonic possession is a call to duty Father Bowdern can't ignore.
The Jesuits are a strong order in the Catholic Church. They are known for their strong faith, their scholarly attributes. They are also known for really being the big guys to call on when you need some serious help.
Bowdern has studied the ancient rites of exorcism, and what he's learned frightens him. Even for a man whose faith is strong, historical texts reveal the very real dangers, not just for the person possessed, but also for the priest who challenges evil. Some believe that when holy men try to root out a demon, sometimes they can become possessed themselves.
Historically, some priests have prayed for the demon to enter their body instead. The priest believes that maybe that was what Satan wanted all along.
Father Bowdern wonders, why would the demon command the Milsons to move here to St. Louis? What could he possibly gain from changing locations?
Oh my God!
maybe the boy has never been his real target. Father Bowdern fears he could be walking into a trap.
The devil is thought to be a liar and a trickster. Some believe he uses deception to get what he wants. So everything that he could have been doing to torture this boy could be part of a bigger plan.
But no matter the dangers, Bowdern feels that he can't abandon one of God's children in desperate need.
We have to remember that Bowdern has been through violent situations before. He was a chaplain in World War II, so he's basically seen it all. He's seen violence, he's seen death, so he'll bring a new strength to the table when dealing with whatever has possessed Ronald.
Get out!
He and another priest, Father Halloran, go to see the Milsons at their home, and they've arrived just in time. Young Ronald's condition seems to have worsened. The priest is confident the second exorcism must begin now.
Unlike Father Hughes, Bowdern has studied intensely for this challenge. He knows the dangers, and he's ready.
To aid him in this battle, Father Bowdern has objects of great holy significance. 2 relics, a saintly crucifix, and a golden object called a monstrance. It's a small handheld vessel containing a sliver of bone from Saint Xavier. Catholics believe these authentic relics are incredibly potent in warding off evil.
These are relics of the highest order. They're not just given out to anybody, and Father Bowdern knows he's gonna need all the help he can get.
I exorcise you, most unclean spirit. All spirits, everyone.
Over 15 days and nights, Father Bowdern continues reciting the words of exorcism.
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come.
While Ronald curses the priest, spits in his face, and thrashes violently with unnatural strength.
And the glory forever and ever.
All throughout, red scratches appear even bigger than before, causing fierce pain.
Let me go!
Then, in a rare moment of peace, Ronald exhibits a new behavior. Instead of thrashing, he begins to write. For Father Bowdern, it's as if the demon inside Ronald is trying to communicate directly with the exorcist. At first, the boy motions with his finger, mimicking chalk on a blackboard. Seeing his opportunity to look inside the mind of Ronald's interloper, Father Bowdern hands the boy a pencil and paper.
Who are you?
He begins asking questions.
This is a huge moment for Father Bowdern, because for months, people have been speculating about what's going on with this boy, or what's inside this boy. And this is the chance for Father Bowdern to drill down and be able to talk to whatever's inside Ronald.
When asked who's inside Ronald, the boy writes, "I am the devil himself." It confirms the priest's suspicions, but seeing these words written by the tortured child strengthens Bowdern's will to defeat the evil inside him.
It affects him very deeply. It drives Father Bowdern like nothing else. It becomes a very personal battle for him.
But what he writes next raises the stakes even higher. The boy slowly sketches an image of a man. And then the words, "Dead Bishop." It's a sign to Father Bowdern that things are about to take a violent turn. And the exorcist is the devil's target.
Get off!
While Father Halloran holds Ronald to the bed, Father Bowdern speaks the Latin word of command.
Principio! Principio!
The young boy's body contorts in anguish.
I'm gonna skin you!
He spouts words of venom at the exorcist, thrashing and kicking with strength.
Exercise you,
Truly big!
of our Lord Jesus Christ!
The priests know the boy couldn't physically be expressing this much strength.
For thine is the power.
So they believe that they are dealing with the strength of Satan.
Then, without warning, Ronald throws a punch, hitting Father Bowdern's assistant, Father Halloran, in the face, breaking his nose. Blood gushes from his nostrils. It's what Father Bowdern feared the most. He believes the devil is using Ronald as a weapon.
The boy can lash out in any way he wants to, but the priests can't really defend themselves in retaliation. They just have to protect themselves. They can't fight back because you have to remember they're still dealing with just a boy.
But no injury to his fellow clergy or himself will stop war veteran Bowdern from his priestly duty. And now, he's more determined than ever.
Father Bowdern has been on the battlefield. He has seen the worst that men can do, and that couldn't break him. It's part of his character not to give up.
Using the most powerful holy relics at his disposal, Father Bowdern prays to the heavens to defeat Satan.
He believes that if he's persistent and he doesn't show any fear, his faith will be deemed worthy of heavenly help.
Et defensor generis humani. Qui?
Suddenly, the priests claim something inside the boy changes. He stops fighting, and then
Satan!
He speaks in a powerful voice no one in the room has ever heard before. He calls out,
Leave this boy's body now!
Father Bowdern is convinced his prayer has brought a Holy Spirit into the boy's body to fight for his soul. Immediately, with the priests as witnesses, the boy contorts even more violently. For what feels like an eternity, a battle seems to be going on inside Ronald's body. They have no idea how much of this the boy can take. Finally, after 8 exhausting minutes, Ronald settles into a state of total peace. Tired but relieved, Ronald declares, the demon is gone. The grueling torment lasting 4 months is over.
You don't have to be a person of faith to acknowledge that this was very unexplainable.
In the end,
Take it off!
no one knows for certain what plagued Ronald Milson. Many still believe the young man simply suffered severe mental torment from secret childhood trauma.
You're scaring your mother.
But for those true believers who witnessed his ordeal, there's no doubt his body was possessed by Satan. This frightening story inspired William Peter Blatty to write The Exorcist, the book that would become one of the greatest blockbuster films of all time. The first horror film to be nominated for Best Picture. And when the actual diary detailing Father Bowdern's incredible struggle surfaced, writer Thomas B. Allen captured the real events in his book, Possessed. It's the tale of terror that continues to mystify believers and non-believers to this day.
Could the boy have caused some of the phenomena to happen? Any skeptic could easily explain away many of the details of the story, but many of the rational explanations just don't add up.
Father,
There again.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy
It's
Spirit.
following me!
Violent demonic possession. Months of terrifying supernatural phenomena. And the final struggle for a young man's mortal soul. These things shouldn't be real. But those who were there swear the story is true. A battle of good versus evil. The Exorcist, behind the screams.